Hi everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, we are going to talk about Maven. What exactly is Maven? Maven is a dependency management tool which is used by Java-based project. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to set up Maven and why exactly this particular thing is needed. Why can't we work without it? So let's get started. This particular video is a part of a series called as Software Engineering Bootcamp, where we discuss everything related to a journey of a software engineer right from beginning till a decent amount of advanced level. So what we are going to do is that we are not going to cover in-depth theory of what is Maven. We are not going to deal with individual topics, but we are going to take a problem statement, and while building a solution, we'll discuss about everything, right from low level design, high level design, design documentation, overall implementing the stuff and deploying the things on Azure. So as of now, I have taken the problem statement where what I'm going to do is that I'll have a problem statement of an e-commerce platform, just like Flipkart. So while building that e-commerce platform, whatever things are needed, I'm going to follow them, and then we'll have the end-to-end journey for a software engineer. So let's get back to Maven. So in Maven, what happens is that let's say you have a project and you are writing a Java code, and now you want to connect to a database. Let's imagine we want to connect to a SQL database. Now, there would be some code that you need to write to connect to database, right? How to connect to the database, how to maintain the connection, then how to make a query and then get a response row by row, etc. So there are a lot of things you need to do while connecting to the database. That's the overall idea, right? Now, when you do that, you might have to write some code, and that code will be common. Let's say you are writing a code to connect to a database, then there will be some code written by you. Likewise, there will be somebody else who is writing the code, and for them also the same thing would happen, that there will be some common code for connecting to the SQL database. So for that, what all the database vendors have done, like SQL by Microsoft or MongoDB or Cassandra, they have created a library that, hey, this is a sample code. This is a code which you can put in your project and reuse them. So those code or reusable code is called as library. And then you can import those projects into your own project and then use them. And these projects themselves might be dependent upon some other project as well. So for example, if you are using Microsoft SQL database, so that database library might be dependent upon authentication library by Microsoft. And that authentication library might be dependent upon some other library as well. So it just makes a whole tree right from your project till the leaf node. So that's what happens overall. Now, let me give you an example by going to the Maven website so that you can get more sense out of it. So we have this website called as maven.apache.org. It contains everything, right from how to install Maven, how to set up Maven, and a bunch of other things. It also contains what is Maven. So here it has how the word Maven came into the existence and what are the various things you should know. And then it has a bunch of other things like how to download and stuffs. You don't need to know everything. There is one important thing you can see is that Maven 3.9 requires JDK 8 to be executed in your machine. So we have already installed JDK 17, so we are good here. So these version compatibilities are important, but generally Maven is written in a way that it is compatible with most of the version which are being used today. I have not seen people using JDK 7 now. Most of the people use JDK 8 minimum. So in that sense, we are good. Coming to the repository which I was talking about, that where do these projects, the project like these connecting to the database are kept. So all these projects are kept, or the libraries are kept into the centralized repository. And that centralized repository is a place from where the people can go and download those libraries. So that library is called as the Maven repository, and the website is mvnrepository.com. So people can go here and download the dependency into their project and use it. So let me give you an example to clarify more. Let's search for JDBC. So JDBC is a library for connecting to the database, and we'll use this Microsoft JDBC stuff. So if you check here, so people can go ahead and download the JDBC stuff. So let's say we click here, and then what we can do is that we can actually, click on it, this JDBC stuff, and download it. So, you can click here and then import it in your project. How to import and all those things, we'll talk in some time. But what is important is that you can click here and download the stuffs into your machine. For now, you can just memorize that these dependencies are put into the file called as pom.xml. So that's where you put the dependency so that you can import them. And here you see multiple options like Maven, Gradle. So all these things are the same thing. You can use Maven, you can use Gradle. Some projects use Gradle, some projects use Maven. We are going to use Maven because it's quite popular, but there is nothing against using other alternatives. But Maven and Gradle is something which I have seen more common than the others. So basically you can come here, you can go to this MS SQL JDBC stuff. You can click on the latest one and you can copy the Gradle stuff. You can copy the Maven stuff. You can copy all these things and then actually, import it in your project. How to import is something, you have to paste the same thing into the pom.xml. So let me show you how. So this is a sample code. This is the actual code of the library. So if you go to the actual code, you can see their pom.xml. So we import this pom.xml into our project, but by putting the line as mentioned, com.microsoft.sql server. But if you come to their pom.xml, they are themselves dependent upon other dependencies like Azure Identity, Azure Key Vault. So these things are needed for authentication and authorization when using this library. So the important thing is that you can just put this piece of code into your project and you will be good. So this is the overall overview of Maven. Now what I'll do is that I'll go to the Windows machine where I have already installed Java and I'll set up Maven. So setting up Maven is simple, but we'll set up Maven and we'll not look into the commands for now. We'll learn the commands as and when they come in. So we'll not learn all the commands of Maven because that they are not even needed. Only few commands are needed, and then there are other commands which you can use as and when required. So it's not that you have to remember everything. There are 4 or 5 commands like Maven install, Maven clean, Maven build. Like 2-3 commands are there. That's the max which is needed. And then, as and when required, you can learn more commands. Now we'll go to the Windows machine where we have already installed Java. So here what we'll do is that we'll open the browser, and in the browser we'll type Maven download. And then it will search on internet and it will take us to the downloads folder. So let's click here. And in the downloads, you see that Maven 3.9 is compatible with Java 8. We have already installed Java 17, so we are good here. And we'll scroll down, and here we see that the binary version, which it shows here, is this 3.9.6, and we have a source version. We don't need source here. We just need a binary version. Source contains the source code. So in the binary, there are 2 options. One is zip and the other is tar.gunzip. Both are same, basically different format of compressing the data. We'll use the zip one because zip is by default there in the Windows machine. So we'll click here to download it. So let's just wait for it to be downloaded. And then what we can do is that we can go to our downloads folder to find the same thing. So we'll go to the downloads. Here you see this particular thing got downloaded. It never completes to 100% sometimes, and that should be okay. We can just unzip things to see if everything is downloaded or not. So we'll just extract it here. Once this is done, we can just copy it from here and create a folder called as softwares in C drive. You can create anything you want to, but somehow I feel this should be okay. So I am creating a folder called as software, and inside that software, I'm going to paste the same thing. And here I'll just rename it to Maven. You can again name it to whatever you want to, and we'll go inside this. And let's open a command prompt here. So I'll open a command prompt. You just type CMD in the address bar and it will open the command prompt in Windows. And here you can go inside the bin folder. And in the bin folder, you have multiple commands available. So you see here, so ambient.cmd is something which is important for us So if I type MVN, so it will detect the Maven because we are in the same folder, and we can write MVN minus minus version, and it will show us the version like Java 17, which we already downloaded, and then the Maven thing. Basically, it is able to detect the Maven as well. But how would it detect outside this folder? Because when we are building Java code, we will not be able to access this folder, and it will be very cumbersome to always go to this folder or type the full path to this folder. So for example, if you are running the code from some other folder, right? So let's say you run the code from here. So you have to type everything. You have to type maven slash bin slash mvn. So you have to type the whole thing to make it work. So that will be very annoying for most people. So what we can do is that we can go to the environment variables and add the environment variable for this particular path. So for that, go to this My PC, click on properties, and here in the settings, let's maximize it. You can just search for environment variables, env environment variables. And here in the environment variables, go to the path. So path means any path which is specific to so where the path will be available throughout the command prompt. So basically that means that if you click here, you click on new and click on browse and go to C drive and then software, and then we have Maven bin. So if we put this as a path, okay, and then we click OK and OK and OK here. And then remember, you have to open a new command prompt whenever you make any changes in the environment variable, otherwise it will not be detected. Now, Maven command will be visible from anywhere. So basically, the path variable, what it does is that those paths are visible to the Windows command prompt from anywhere. So it will help us to run the Maven from anywhere we want to. So this is how the Maven is being set up on the machine. There are a few commands of Maven, but what I'll do is that I'll cover it along with the tool, that is IntelliJ. So along with that, I'll cover the Maven commands. We don't need to cover it now. I mean, you can cover it. There is a whole website for Maven anyways, and you can go ahead and learn everything from here. But I'm just covering what is required as an engineer and what is required to start. And of course, when you get into the depth, you might need more things, but setting up Maven is good enough. I hope this video was helpful to you. And in this video, you learned how to set up Maven, what exactly is Maven and why is it needed. In the upcoming videos, we'll set up the IntelliJ IDE, and there we'll talk about how to set up what are the other alternatives, and as a Java engineer or as a backend engineer, how to set up your dev environment. So in the next video, we'll set up the IDE, we'll set up a bunch of things, and we'll have a running code in the next video. So that's it from my side for this video. Till the next time, bye.